Okay guys, I get a lot of questions about do I use hobbles or sidelines, and the answer is absolutely yes. Remember this, there's three ways you can control a horse's mind. Create movement, which is getting the horse to move. Redirect that movement, which is forwards, backwards, left and right. And the third way you can control a horse's mind is by inhibiting movement. What do I mean by inhibiting movement? That would be like tying the horse up to a fence or to a tree, teaching him to stand still with hobbles on him, teaching the horse to be laid down on command. That's a way that you inhibit movement. So all three ways control a horse's mind. So I personally like to teach all of my horses how to stand tied in hobbles and how to wear a sideline. Why? I think it teaches them respect, I think it teaches them patience, but more than anything, to me, it's an insurance plan. If your horse, it's not if your horse ever gets his leg over a fence or caught in a gate hinge or caught in the stall or some weird place. You know what horses are like. They're always going to put their legs in some place you don't want them to put it. If you've taught your horse not to panic when he feels restraint around his legs, he'll stand there and wait for you to get him out of that bind. Wait for you to take his leg out of the fence. But if a horse has never been taught to have any pressure on his legs at all, the first time he gets his leg caught in a fence or in a bad spot, he's going to panic, and when he panics, he's going to hurt himself and tear himself up, okay? So I use two main objects here. I'll use the rope hobbles on the front feet, okay? This is Reagan, one of my cow horses. Good boy. So the rope hobbles, I just put them on like this. I twist them 3 times. I'll go around the other leg and put it on like that. And technically now, if I walked off for 2 or 3 hours, I want Reagan to stand exactly the way he is right there. I don't want him to walk around with the front hobbles. I want him to stand exactly where he is right now. And you can teach him that with the method, okay? Or in a pasture situation, let me just take this off real quick. There we go. In a pasture situation, sometimes you've got, most of the time in a pasture situation, you've got one dominant mare. It might be a dominant bitchy mare, it might be a gelding, might even be a stud that's real dominant and wants to beat up all the other horses or is the real troublemaker, okay? But you don't have a way to be able to isolate him very well from the other horses. So here's what I do. When I want to handicap a horse or slow a horse down, in a pasture situation, I'll put on what we call a sideline, which I'll put around one hind foot and then on the same foot on the front foot. So for example, with Reagan here, okay, I'll lift his hind foot up. I'll slip it around there like that, okay? And now I can put the front foot on, like that. Now, if I take the halter and lead rope off him, he can technically move around the pasture like that. It just slows him down. So if you've got one horse that's really aggressive and it wants to chase the other horses, okay, this slows him down. The other horses have time to get away from him in a pasture situation if this horse was chasing the other horses or trying to kick them or being really aggressive, okay? I never want to teach a horse to be able to move around with front hobbles on. Whenever I put front hobbles on a horse, I want them to think they're stuck to the ground. They don't move. So I never let a horse develop a habit of walking around with front hobbles on, okay? Good boy. But with a sideline on, and you can change it up. One day put it on this side, the next day put it on the other side. Okay, I'm going to lift his front foot up, take it off his front foot, pick his back foot up, slip it off here. That's how easy it is. So, I understand there's a lot of tree huggers out there that absolutely think it's barbaric to restrict your horse's legs or take their legs away from them. That's okay, you don't have to do it. But I think it's barbaric to just wait, and the key word is wait. It's not if your horse ever gets hung up in a fence. It's not if your horse ever gets hung up in a gate hinge or in a gate or in a portable panel. It's when. And when that happens, The only question you have is, how bad does he panic? How bad does he kick and thrash to get out of that situation? When you teach your horses to stand tied with hobbles and sidelines, okay, they don't panic when their legs are restricted. Do you notice when I moved Reagan around, you notice he didn't panic? He just moved around. So obviously you couldn't put a sideline on a horse in a pasture where there's logs everywhere and big rocks and something maybe the sideline might get hooked on. Okay, it's got to be some sort of a flat pasture that's relatively clean. I'll put that on in a stall as well to get them used to it as well, or in an arena in a situation like that. So I'm a big believer. Train your horses not to panic and feel trapped and claustrophobic when they have their legs restricted. I teach my horses how to lead by all 4 feet. I'll put a lariat on, and I'll teach them how to lead by their feet. I have a whole, it used to be a DVD, but a whole download stream on teaching your horse how to lead by their feet, teaching them how to lay down, teaching them how to stand tied with hobbles. Okay, so I'd highly recommend you watch that. But I want to teach my horse that when he gets into a bad situation, wait for me or another human being to get him out of that pickle. Don't thrash and panic and hurt himself and tear himself up. So guys, we've got a great sale going on right now. If you buy the front hobbles and 1 set of sideline, I'll give you the hobble and leg restraints digital download for free. It's normally worth $90. You can buy it for $90. I'll give that digital download for you for free and you'll own it. So you've got the right information for the hobbles and sidelines. I'll give you that digital download worth $90 for free. This sale is only for the next 10 days, guys.